Let's talk little Antoine Wells, little Juice Wells, South Carolina. I think this came as a shock to South Carolina and their fans. Uh, Tough. This one is tough for South Carolina for sure. Really good player. You have some decent players still there in that South Carolina receiver room, but this guy is he's elite. He's one of the best receivers in the SEC, and he'll be probably one of the best receivers in the country next year, depending on where he goes. So I think every school and their mom is reaching out to this guy, wanting him to play for them. So I mean, he's just good. He's
Yeah.
just a good ball player. I believe he's from Virginia, so would be
Was that James Madison before transferring to South Carolina? Super productive there. Came here in South Carolina. Didn't have the year he wanted, but with the injuries, it's kind of expected. You saw when
yeah.
he went out though, like they needed playmakers on that roster. They didn't quite have him, and he was a big one for him, and it was a tough loss for him. And obviously, it'll be a tough loss for them and Beamer to replace going forward.
Yeah, and for these receivers, right, these really top end receivers, a lot of the schools that we say that they're being recruited by or whatever are the same schools. We just talked about Deion Burks, we just talked about Julian Fleming. A lot of the same schools for them also apply to Juice Wells, right? But I would throw in UNC in there. Um, staying maybe a little bit closer to home. Uh, I throw LSU in there. I think he stays in the SEC or East Coast. I don't think he's going to fly all the way across. Like he could go to USC, but I think he stays closer. Like I think Tennessee is not out of the question. I don't think Miami's out of the question. Alabama is not crazy. I don't think. Uh,
No,
Texas is not crazy either. I think Juice Wells is in good talks with them, and I believe either today or tomorrow he's having an official visit to Tennessee. So I know I already mentioned that, but just want to throw that out there. So any of those spots you particularly like or want to add one?
no, I think those are all interesting ones. It sounds like Tennessee and Texas seem to be two of the,
But
the teams emerging towards the top
yeah,
there. We'll see how the official visit goes to Tennessee, and that would be a really nice room for him. He saw the success that Tillman and Hyatt had there. Obviously, with Nico coming in, a lot of excitement around Tennessee offensively after a disappointing year this year. Texas is never a bad spot to go if you're a talented wide receiver, especially if Quinn Ewers comes back. I mean, that's a good spot to be at for him. He could really make himself a lot of money in the NFL draft next April. But yeah, those are two teams I like a lot. I think for South Carolina replacing him, there will be wide receivers in the portal. None of them are really going to be as good as Juice Wells that will be available to you. Very unfortunate. That's the reality of sometimes the retention. It's not quite there for the elite players. You did your best, I'm sure. Yeah, it was tough, but we'll see. We'll see what to do there. I believe in Beamer. I think they like their quarterback for sure. There's some talent there as well. Nicholas Harbor is a guy you got to keep in program there. We'll see though. We'll see.